Welcome back to the Cleaning Business Live. I am your co-host, Jamie Runko, and I am with Shannon Miller. Today, we're going to be talking about systems first, how to quote without fear, especially when the client is sitting right in front of you and trying to control the whole conversation.
I'm laughing because I've been there. I mean, there's a couple of ways to do an in-person bid, right? You either come in and they say, okay, just walk it and come back and tell me, or you sit down first and then you have a conversation and they want to get to know you to see if, what you're doing is legit and you know what you're talking about. So I'm laughing because they do watch you. And I remember sitting on the couch because I used to bid way different than I do now, right? Because I was
Right.
charging by the hour. So I was like, okay, well, this room, this room, this room. And I would like count it up. I do the math and I come out with like to the decimal, right? I'm like, this is what I think.
Yes, yes,
And they would like, and you can, it's like that, that's the invisible tick, tick, tick. So you're trying to be
yes,
fast, right?
right. I used to do the same thing and then I'd spit out a number right at the end of the walkthrough. I do not do that anymore. So I do in-person bidding still. And usually I take the lead and I'm like,
You need
um,
to.
you mind if I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm looking for. And you can talk to me as I'm rubbing my fingers across the top of your showers. And sometimes they want to tell you, they want to control the direction of the conversation. And they want to tell you all their problems, which all their
It's
pain
therapy,
points. And
right?
that's okay. But you're gonna do it as we're walking. So if you've ever felt like your quote feels off, like you gave too much or said yes when you shouldn't have, you already know something went wrong, right?
Right. If we are, and we all, if you've done it, don't beat yourself. We've all done it.
Oh, I was a total yes person in the beginning. I think a lot of people don't realize how much pressure happens in with these in-person bids. I know that I had so much pressure. Like at the end of the quote, at the same moment, I would give you the quote, especially if it's in person, you don't give a range. You really need to nail it. But I have come to realize like, hey, give me an hour or two. I'm going to put together the basically like a proposal, an estimate, specific for your house, and I send it off via my CRM, and they
Good
approve it
job.
or they don't.
Right.
They approve it or they don't. And I don't want, I know that whenever I do uh, all the estimates, I don't want every single one that I get.
Right.
I don't want every single one. Um, it's a
It's hard because there's boundaries. Like I did a bid yesterday and he was a little pushy. I had to be like firm with him and he
Mhm.
couldn't understand why like he wanted a full wipe down of all the cat. First of all, he didn't want to commit to frequency. So it's treated as a one-time cleaning, right? So I'm giving him a one-time cleaning price because it's frequency. So he's
Right.
wanting to have a one-time cleaning, all of the details, all the bells and whistles, but he's not wanting to pay for the one-time cleaning. So then he was like trying to slide in the wipe the whole cabinetry off. And I'm like, we'll spot it for you, but it has to be like McDonald's, right? And just know I hardly ever go out in an in-person, but I was rusty. I had to come up with two documents. I had to find a folder. I had to get business cards. I had to put a uniform on. I'm like, wow, it's been a long time. I'm like, do I look okay? I'm not all sweaty
Yeah.
looking. There's a whole
Yep.
pretense to preparing for an in-person bid. And just know that he had 15-foot ceilings. So to do the cabinetry requires ladder work. So you're going to have to get up there and wipe. So that was the first thing. And second of all, it's an added on charge because he's not committing to frequency. He's wanting it, but he doesn't want to pay it. And I genuinely felt bad for this person. He was very nice. He's a widower. And his wife took care of that responsibility. So he knows what he likes. It's just a matter of, is this going to be worth the price that I'm paying to have this done, because this stuff drives me nuts. Um, but yeah, we went back and forth over what was going to be done and not done. I'm like, I'm not going to tell the cleaning tech to do it. And then the next cleaning tech in 2 or 3 more months, when you decide that you're ready, isn't going to want to do it because it's not bid for it. So, come on.
Yeah, yeah. I did one, and they came back around with so I quoted this person over a year ago,
Oh, wow.
and they never bit. And then they came back because the cleaner that they hired, she goes, I just don't
Didn't work
want
out.
somebody in my house all day. But the things that she wanted done every single time, I'm like, this,
Required it.
yeah. And so I send her the bid. My system is totally different. They look over everything, and I already felt that we're not going to be the fit for her. We're not going to be the fit. So she's like, I have some questions, and I'm already like, I don't think we're going to be the right company for you, you
Right.
know? So,
I usually will give them a bid and then, here you go. And then if they want, they'll usually go through those types of people, and I know exactly what you're talking about. We'll get like 52 vids for every single cleaning company will have visited the house, and then they'll overanalyze things. And it's not their fault. It's just there's that type of person. And so then out of the 52, then they scale it down to like 16. So then they want you to come back for a second bid. I'm like, no, my bid still stands.
yeah, yeah. And it was, uh, it was $400 a month. $400. And this person is immaculate. It was huge with pets, even though it don't pass the threshold of the kitchen, you still have, anytime you open up that door, we know pet hair flies all the way over into the other area. Well, it was just, I'm just making sure that, it's not a pet because he's way over here. And it's
Right.
like, yeah.
I don't
Um,
have kids, even though you see all those hand
but
marks.
I was like, okay, so what's your budget? Maybe we can start taking things off. I
Right.
can,
Calling her out on it indirectly. I love that.
300. And I was like, oh, but we can't start until June because me and my whole family's leaving for 3 weeks.
To Tahiti.
I promise you, it was not Tahiti, but it was,
All-inclusive vacation somewhere.
oh, it was somewhere, 3 weeks. And I was just like, that's whenever I decided, I was like, yep, no, if you can't, you can afford 3 weeks to take your whole family to Costa Rica,
Mhm.
then you can afford 400. And the amount of, and I could already feel, once I send my team in there would be scope creep,
Mhm.
huge scope creep. I could already feel it, like, okay, so I know that you can, if I move out the dressers, do you think you can hit those? Like, it
No.
was just, it was over the top, Shannon. It was over the top. So
It's me.
there's a lot of pressure whenever you're
Yeah, they're watching you. They're
doing
asking questions.
face-to-face, in-person walkthrough, because that's immediately also when you start second guessing yourself.
Because it
And,
throws you off, because you're like not expecting, you're expecting them to behave, right? This is a meet and greet.
and you have
It's
to
like a
come
first
up,
date.
you have to be witty. You have to be
Right?
witty, and you have to come up with the answers right then and there.
Mhm.
Where, on the
That's what I did with
phone,
him yesterday. I was like, well, you got to think of like McDonald's, right? Every person can work every position in that back of the house at McDonald's. No one deviates from that. I go, if I go hypothetically, if I were to come and clean, if it was me and I did it for you, then the next person came in and they're like, well, Shannon's gonna ream me if I do this, right? I go, it's McDonald's. You have to be consistent. That's why you can go anywhere in the world and get a McDonald's hamburger, with the exception of India, because Indians and India do not eat hamburger. That's just part of their religion. They don't eat cows. So he kind of got it then, but I had to kind of politely put him in his place. But you have to be witty and you have to be on your toes because people will, they're not listening. They just want to talk about the next thing because they're like, whatever the issue is.
Whatever they want.
Right.
We're there to help them.
We
They're
are,
there
but there's a fine line of where that is.
right. And it's very, this person, you can tell she ran the show. And it was just like, and you have to pull your big girl panties up and be like, okay, no, I'm not the one that's doing the cleaning. We're not solo cleaners. There is we have a system. We have a system that's consistent. Everybody knows what a weekly versus a bi-weekly versus a monthly, which consists of every 4 weeks,
Mhm.
what to do in those. And if you are only wanting monthly services, that's a deeper clean, and those are more
You can't
expensive.
feather dust.
No, you cannot. And the whole wet wiping of the baseboards every time, and no, we're not. We have other people that were scheduled. So I know we're getting a little, it's all in the same topic, but um, you start second guessing yourself right in the middle of, especially when they throw you for a loop, whenever they're like, well, the dog's over here. I mean, this is just one scenario. I mean, there's so
It's
many
just a
different
broom sweep. What's
scenarios.
the big deal?
Yeah. Yeah, what do you mean you don't wet wipe the front of the cabinets every single time? So,
But yeah, I think the conversations that you have, they live inside of the process and not instead of. So you have to be firm. Like I had to be firm with this gentleman. And like I said, he was super duper nice. And then it was like, then when he couldn't get the cabinets, and he's like, so will you wipe the baseboards off? I'm like, no, that's an upcharge. I go, your house is 3,800 square feet.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, you're looking at a buck 50. I go, that's all hands and knees.
Yeah, because it's not, I even over explain. I'm like,
Right.
we're not just wet
They
wipe.
put you on
Like
guard.
we have toothbrushes and we have the stuff. Like we
Mhm.
are professional cleaners. And then it come down to about, I need to trust. I was like, my trust, I have background checks on
Right.
file. We're bonded. For crying out loud, I have a storefront in our hometown.
Right.
My name is everything to me, you know?
Right. And then you have to ask them, why are you know what I mean? Well, what about trust? Well, did you have an experience in the past where trust was questioned? Because then they'll tell you, oh, well, I had someone steal something, or oh, I had this happen, or oh, I had that happen. And I get it. It really does come down to trust and convenience and reliability. But sometimes you have to ask, like I always bring up, we were accused one time of stealing a cocktail ring. Wasn't a fancy smancy like $8,000 one, but it was a pretty high priced item. And what it was is we were coming. This is when we still worked in teams. I don't know why I ever did that, but she put it up for safekeeping and then couldn't remember, and then like called me about it. I'm like, I don't, I don't go in your closet. I don't know anything about anyone, right? It took her 3 months, and then she found the ring and wanted us to come back, and the relationship had deteriorated, right? So I never did go back. And then the person who was accused, because it was a guy, he didn't want to go back. Nobody wants to go back. Once it's tarnished, it's kind of a done deal. You're like, because you always in the
And
back
it
of your
brings
mind, your money.
yeah, it brings your whole team's morale down.
Right. So you
Like,
just check. See
yeah,
you later.
no, I
Why can't
mean,
I leave my Tiffany necklace out? Because it's worth 20 grand? Why
I
would you
mean,
have a piece of jewelry that's 20 grand sitting around?
I just,
It's just wild. But
exactly.
there is a really human moment. And it really does change when you start to do in-person versus non in-person bidding. And it does take some finagling to learn how to do a non in-person bid. And it's very methodical, and there's really a lot less emotion. I find, because I hadn't done an in-person bid in a long time, I was way too chatty. I spent an hour and 10 minutes there I should not have.
Exactly.
Took a half hour to get
Exactly.
there each direction. I'm like, oh my God, I just blew 2 hours and 25 minutes. I closed the deal, but I was just like, oh my God.
And that's exactly what I learned. It does. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of questions, learning the right questions to be asked, and how you come up with that number. And it all comes back to, like, I see in the groups, some people charge by the square foot, and it's like that should be only part. That's only part
That's one piece of the equation.
of the equation. But yeah, asking questions like, is there an upstairs and a downstairs? This person had an upstairs and a downstairs. That takes time. That
Those
takes
stairs
time.
are a bummer too.
And it was dark wood, and we all know
Oh,
what dark wood is. You can see if that sunlight hits it just right, you can see every little dust bunny
mhm.
that ever existed right there on it. And I'm like, boy,
Dark
that's
wood is beautiful. I've seen a lot of model homes with
so
it. Every
beautiful.
homeowner that I've had that has gotten it put in, they get it removed like 6 to 8 months later because it dry because the sun hits it and they can see all of the dust.
And then you're second guessing your own self, like, oh my gosh, am I that dirty? No, but that honestly, it depends on what pets and all this and that. But yeah, it's so gorgeous. Dark wood is so gorgeous, but you literally can see every
Right.
how you really live.
Yeah,
So,
it's
yeah, and you know what? People do they want to feel comfortable in your home whenever you're quoting. So doing in-person bidding, it sets the homeowner at ease. I get that. I get that.
right, but it's not realistic for you to do as a long-term goal, especially, I mean, diesel is 6.50 a gallon right now in my town. I don't even, you showed me a price the other day of what it is up in Northern California. It's just not, like I said, I spent 2 hours and 25 minutes. We won't even talk about the gas, all of the other things I had to do, but I hadn't done one in a long time. I'm like, it'll be fun. I can, I was like, oh, blah, 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 see what I
Yeah.
can do, right? But yeah, it's not recommended for someone seasoned like myself or Jamie, but if you're brand new, and you want to get a feel, the lay of the land, I often refer back to the Kirby vacuums. Those were sold in the 90s. They were $2,000 in the 90s, a commitment. And those guys went door to door selling those Kirby's. How many homes have you been in to see a Kirby? I've been in hundreds. They whip out their Kirby. I'm like, I'm not using that.
Uh-uh.
We're not,
You're
there's
not
no
breaking my
way.
arm.
Right. They're
We're
like, it has a transmission. I'm like, I don't care what it's got. We're not using it.
I have a carburetor right over here.
Right.
Just prime it.
Or the rainbow vacuums. Those were really popular too in the late 2000s.
Water. No.
It's and they're like, "Well, this is great." I'm like, "This is great, but it's not commercial friendly. This is not meant for a commercial use. It's not cost effective. It's like having someone, what was the story I had? The one lady who wanted me to use the fancy towels, not the microfiber towels, the E-Cloths or what's the other one? I
Uh,
can't remember the name of them, but
Check it in.
yes, so she wanted to hand me those, and then she didn't have enough for me to use for the whole house. This was
Correct.
back in the day. So she wanted me to boil them on the oven to clean them so that I could wring them out and use them as I went. I'm like, that's not happening ever.
Oh, the things that
I'm
we've
like, yeah,
done.
but if you're watching I Love Lucy and eating bonbons. We're not
Yeah.
we're not sitting on the couch and then cleaning and then sitting on the couch.
Just boil them. Just boil them. Bring them out with the tongs after you pick them up with the tongs because they're so
Don't burn
piping
yourself
hot.
because it's hot, right? So that so there's a lot to doing quotes without fear. And it does take practice. Learning how to close a deal, learning how to sell takes practice. And the only way to learn how to sell, you can read all the books and you can watch all the videos. It's going to be helpful, but doing it is part of the sales process. Um,
I think people get a lot of really scared of losing the bid
they get
because
offended. And it's easy to be personal about like, well, they didn't like me, they didn't like my bid, they didn't like what I did, they don't understand what I stand for, they don't. This is like,
but it
or the other side, well, this is hard work. I have labor and payroll taxes and workman's comp. And I just tell people flat out, I'm like, look, when I had Castle Keeper Cleaning, my marketing budget for the year was 150 grand. And I go, I can't operate. I go, you need an independent. And I would tell him, I'm like, go to Facebook and look for an independent cleaner. Their margins are not going to be the same as mine, and that might be more budget friendly, right? I
Right?
No skin off my back. And then they would come back later, okay, I'm ready to give you guys a try, is what usually ended up happening. And then I've had some of them stay for like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It does take a quoting without fear, especially not going in person does take a lot of
Next practice.
it does. And the only way to do it is by doing it
Mhm.
and learning and critiquing your questions.
Mhm.
As many and selling. You have to sell your company. You have to sell your services. It's
Right.
all about the sales. It's the same thing as doing in-person bid, only except you're just doing it over the phone.
Right. Asking the right questions. And when you're doing an in-person bid and you're quoting without fear, you're giving you have to be obviously comfortable. I know some of us are a little shy, but you have to give eye contact. You have to smile. You have to do the things that you would do with another person. You just pretend that you're at lunch with them, right? Okay, well, they're giving me eye contact. I'm
Mm.
listening. They're giving me eye contact. They're listening. So it becomes like and I call them meet and greets. That's what I label them nowadays. I'm like, meet and
So meet and greet, me too.
we're doing a meet and greet. It's kind of like a date, and you're going to see if you like me. I'm going to see if I like you, and and then they laugh, but I'm being serious. If I don't like you, guess what? You
Should
don't
only
get
take
my
about
outstanding
50,
cleaning services,
should only take about 15 minutes,
right?
if not less, unless I get to talking, which
Right.
can very well happen.
So don't do it. That's not the most efficient way. I can usually close just about everything I walk into, but it's just not time efficient. It's not efficient for anyone, especially at my level, to go to it. But I had fun. We had a good time, but I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta go.
But our
Right.
time, like the time is valuable. And
Right.
gas, like you said, gas is just, especially now, I don't suspect that it'll be like this forever. I expect it to drop some, but it's gonna stay up there and we're already up there. I mean, for us, diesel is 750. I think it went up another 10 cents, 760 a gallon. So, and then what did that guy take? About what, an hour? A little over.
I was out an hour and a quarter, hour and 15 minutes. It took a half hour out there, half hour back. So 2.25 hours out of my day from drop off to pick up were taken up by this person who wanted to give me scope creep. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
So, but you do have to ask yourself this: if you have to have a coding process. Obviously, Jamie and I are having a casual conversation of my recent experience, but you have to have a process. Like I had to find my unit. I couldn't find a logo shirt. I'm like, where are they? Right? I had to find it. I had to find out my little book. Where is it? I don't see it here, but I had to get a notebook. I had to make sure I had two pins in case one didn't work. I had to print out two of my customer agreement, right? Because I'm not going to go to an in-person bid and not close the deal. I want the credit once you get the credit card number, depending on the legalities of your state, it's a closed. They're not going to continue shopping because they gave you the credit card number. You've closed the deal. They've signed the contract,
Yeah, you're done.
right? And then you're going to thank them, and then you're going to try to ease back out because they still want to talk. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm
And
like,
we're
oh my gosh, I
scheduling.
didn't realize what time it was. On my phone. I got to go. I have another. I always say I have another appointment because
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
want to say I'm now that I've closed the deal. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are things to think about, and they are, and sometimes it is having a conversation. I probably was, in retrospect, critiquing my thing. I talked too much, but I figured, he was a widower. He needed a little extra conversation, and that ended up closing the deal. So you have to weigh that out for what's best for you. And what it really comes down to is you're walking into a quote as a cleaner and you're hoping they choose you. I'm walking into as a cleaner or an operator or a business owner is usually what I am. And I know I'm going to close it. If you've made me drive all the way across town and I'm going to spend 2 hours and 25 minutes with you, I'm closing the deal. It's like
Exactly.
I'm going to
Oh my
work it
gosh.
from every angle I know how to make sure that I leave with the paper
Yes.
so that it was worth my time. And you can pre-qualify people too. Like, are you getting other quotes? You're entitled to ask. It's okay. It's not a crime to say when someone says I'm getting 12 quotes, I won't go.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah.
the one that goes, I'm going to close it. It's all when they say they're getting 12 quotes, it's all about price. They don't, that's not a, it's an ends to a means. They're not really interested in a long-term relationship with you, which is what cleaning is. I mean, I've
Yes,
had
it is.
some clients for 16, 17 years. Um, it's just a one-time deal with them. You're an ends to means, and don't take it personal. But yeah, I I've been
Very.
offended, like, what's wrong with my price?
Or yeah, or it's just somebody that's like, I have questions.
Mhm.
Well, you better ask somebody else because it's not, we're not the ones for
Right.
you.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that happens.
Yep, sure does.
And it really is a mindset. And clients can feel it immediately. If you're confident and you know what you're talking about and you're walking, like Jamie mentioned, sliding your finger across the shower door, looking the blinds, rubbing your fingers across there, looking on top of the refrigerator if you can see without getting on a ladder. I've the big deal, the easy closing deal for me, excuse me, the bubble water. that snuck out is way back when I used to do a lot of in-person bids. I would actually, if it was a hardwood floor and they mentioned they wanted underneath the bed clean, I would lay on the floor and look underneath. I'm like, oh yeah, you got some big dust bunnies under here, and their eyes would get really big. That's usually the closing moment for them. Like, she got on the ground and looked, so I know they're going to get that job done, right? Uh,
Yeah.
so you're not really there to impress them. You're there to get them to buy in. And how you do that is having the contract, having it signed, and leaving. You can leave a welcome packet, an above all cleaning foldered packet, which gives
I
you
have my
a
trifold.
presentation.
Hmm.
Or you can do it digitally. I've seen people, I had a couple of them made last year, but then we're doing some transitioning, so I can't even use them anymore. But you can get a PDF made. Sarah, the VA, if you need her information, is happy to make those for you right in Canva. And
She
you just
makes.
print it out when you need it, or you can send it digitally. You can save it as a file on your phone and send it over. This is some of my best work here. I mean, there's all kinds of little things that you can do if you just take one extra step and follow up. Because guess what? 99% of the others aren't going to do it.
Great. We're pretty much 90% all digital.
Mhm.
Everything is completely digital. Um, we do have some clients that are elderly that still write checks, and you
Mhm.
can tell with the chicken scratch that they have that they're elderly. But and I'm okay with that. That's something that you want to be sure that you are okay with taking on our checks. We only take checks from very, very few people. Everything else is digital. My contract, I do have the trifolds, the brochures above all cleaning services. I give that to them, but nine times out of ten, they've already looked up your company. They've obviously you're there. They called you, so they've already done their little bit of research on you. Um, the
So this kind of concludes this very short session on quoting without fear. This is just some of our strategies that we have used so that you can take them and use them as your own. Um, but be prepared. And there's going to be times where you're going to get ghosted. If you live in a big metropolitan area in like greater Maryland or Washington, D.C., you might have to pre-charge for a quote and then deduct it off of their first initial cleaning, just so you can make sure that they're going to be there and not ghost you. There's nothing worse than driving an hour in traffic after you've already had a long day with whatever went down, and then they're like, you're knocking on the door and you got your clipboard and you're all ready to go, and you can see them and hear them, but no one's answering the door. So you got to take that into consideration too. So definitely, I think we're at a point now digitally. And you should also be able to buy off your website. So if you haven't got a website, that should be something you consider. And people should be able to buy off your website. We're in 2026, and I know I have been slow to incorporate this in my own thing. I was just spitting out poofs. But you can go to my website and you can buy a cleaning package. You need to have something there in case someone in the middle of the night goes, I'm gonna buy Jamie a cleaning package.
And
And then you wake up and you're like, I just made 800 bucks.
yeah, no, it's wonderful. And buying from Shannon, her already digital, everything's already done, and you just put it, copy and
Mhm.
paste it, kind of tweak it a little bit to make it your own. And why not? Whenever we know that Shannon has done how many just move out. This is just move out cleans, you guys. It's like
15,000.
I was going to say 13. That's a
15,000
lot.
without cleanings.
So I think you know what you're doing
Yeah,
whenever it comes
definitely.
whenever it comes to quoting, bidding, and everything. And you guys, if you found any value in this episode, please like, subscribe, share with other cleaning business owners so that we can reach a bigger audience and get these algorithms going and reach more cleaners like you.
Definitely. Take
Okay.
care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.